Hello everyone, this is Kate Ratcheter here on behalf of Team Theatre Bacchus. I just wanted to say hello and I hope you're having a fabulous evening. I have the pleasure of being part of the first radio play for Theatre Bacchus, Twisted Tales of Poe, and I'm just hanging out with our little mascot Raven here. Now, originally with Theatre Bacchus, our plan was to have dishes that were paired with the shows, as well as the fabulous wine that we would be featuring. Now, obviously, because of everything going on, we can't serve you things the way we would like to, but we all need to adapt. And so instead, for our first show, I've actually come up with a recipe you can prepare at home that you can make ahead of time to have with your glass of wine while you listen to the show. We're going to be doing a bedeviled raven's egg. Sorry, buddy. So to get started, let's just move Raven out of the way. And of course, it's always important to have a good glass of wine available while working. So for anyone who's never done a devil's egg before, you need to get a good pot of water going. And you need to throw your eggs in. So you can do these from cold. Often I recommend doing that because sometimes if you put egg from the fridge into a pot that's too hot, what'll end up happening is the eggs will heat up too quickly and they will crack. However, what we're going to be doing to give these eggs a really good effect is we're going to do a style of Taiwanese tea egg. So Taiwanese tea eggs are very popular in Taiwan. They're normally a snack food, and what it is they steep the eggs in a broth with a bunch of different seasonings, and it gets this amazing kind of veined effect on the edges. Now, I'm not going to do the traditional spices in a Taiwanese tea egg. I'm actually going to do a little bit simpler because we're also going to change the filling for these eggs to just give it a different flavor and also to give this deep, rich red color that's going to give us that spooky effect that Edgar Allan Poe would be proud of. So to make the broth, while we're waiting for our eggs, the eggs will need to boil for at least 10 to 12 minutes. We want a hard boil. That way we can actually take the yolks out. And we'll be able to make our mixture. But while we're waiting for that, we're going to work on the broth that's going to be used for our eggs. Now, I have seen people make spooky eggs for Halloween, and they use different dyes and things like that. But we can do a very natural method using tea and a bit of soy sauce. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a 1/4 cup of soy sauce. I'm going to add that into my pot. And then I'm going to take 4 cups of water. Add that into my pot as well. And I'm just going to start bringing that to a boil. And then I'm going to add in my spices. And I'm going to keep this very simple. I've got a clove of garlic. I'm just going to crush that to take the skin off. And I'm going to throw it in whole. It's okay if it comes into pieces. And I'll tell you right now, this broth that we're making, what you're going to be doing is you're going to be soaking these eggs for at least 12, I say honestly for 24 hours if you want to get the full effect. But what you can do afterwards when you're done, you can actually use this broth multiple times if you decide you want to make the eggs a couple of times. You can also reduce this down, just keep letting it boil and boil and boil until it thickens up, and it makes a really delicious sauce. So we've got our clove of garlic, 1/4 cup of soy sauce, and our 4 cups of water. And I'm also going to add in some bay leaf. I've got a little bit of crushed bay leaf here. 1 bay leaf. And I'm going to take some pink peppercorns. If you have regular peppercorns, that's okay, but you need about 8 of them. And you're going to add those in. And so while we're waiting for that to come to a simmer, I'm going to throw 1 extra peppercorn in. While we're waiting for that to come to a simmer, we're also going to get our tea. Now, I'm just using a traditional tea bag, and I've got a clasp that I normally use for holding my, it's a pot holder clip, and it's just so that it's not going to slide off. You could use a chip clip if you wanted, but you want something that's got a good heat resistance. And what I'm going to do is once this comes to a boil, I'm going to put my tea bag in and clip, and then I'm going to let this steep for at least 10 minutes before I'm going to be able to use it. Okay? And in the meantime, I want to make you aware this step needs to be done ahead of time. Because you're going to be doing this overnight, this is a bit of a two-step process, and I am going to show you the lazy way to do this too. I'm going to show you the Instagram-worthy way, and then I'm going to show you the lazy way, because let's face it, sometimes you want to put the effort in and you want it to be really stylized, and other times you just need something delicious and simple that's going to go with your wine. All right, so I can actually see my eggs are starting to bubble. So once my water is starting to bubble on my eggs, I can actually just turn the heat off on the eggs, and I can let those just sit in that hot water for at least a good 10 to 12 minutes. I like doing this method, one, because if I walk away, I'm not going to worry about the eggs boiling off all the water. It's a very simple way to do your hard-boiled eggs. And once our soy mixture is good to go, I'm just going to give it one little stir here. I'll show you what it looks like. A bit like a witch's brew. Here we are. So you can see from that deep dark color, that's where we're going to get the dark edges for our eggs. Now, while we're waiting for that, there we are. While we're waiting for that, I'm going to show you all the ingredients we're going to need for our filling. So, we're going to be doing a very dark, rich red color. Again, you can do it with food coloring, but in my opinion, that's cheating, and you're missing out on an opportunity for a lot of flavor. So instead, to get those deep red colors, what we're going to do is we're going to use a combination of, I've got a beet here, which I've roasted. It's going to give us that deep purple color. I've got some roasted red pepper, which is going to add some redness, and I've got these lovely sun-dried tomatoes. And this combination is going to give us that ghastly red that we're looking for. So, while we're waiting for this to kind of finish steeping, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to start making the filling for the eggs. And if you want to make the filling the night before while the eggs are steeping, that's completely fine. In fact, I find if you don't use all this filling, it's fabulous with crackers. So what you're going to do is you're going to take one roasted beet. You can roast it, or if you want to save yourself a little bit of time, you can just microwave it until it's cooked. So I've got my beet here, and I'm going to be putting that into my food processor. One beet, and then I've got one roasted red pepper here. Just show you. I'm going to take that, and if you had a pepper and you wanted to roast it in the oven, that's fine. I like using the jarred one just because it already has a bit of brine and saltiness, so I'm not going to need to add that extra salt and vinegar to give it that pop. And I'm going to take about a 1/4 cup of my sun-dried tomatoes here. Here we are, and I'm going to add those in as well. And of course, a little bit more garlic. That garlic that's steeping in our brew is not going to be as strong, and I want some of it for the filling. So I've got my clove of garlic here. I'm going to throw that in. Now, when I came up with this recipe, I basically kept adding things into my food processor until I felt like it looked like murder. And you're going to understand in just a minute. Sorry, it's about to get loud. I'm going to blend all this together. And you're going to see, I loved this challenge from Lana, the founder of Theater Bacchus, because
She's like, can you make creepy look delicious? And I'm telling you right now, here we are. Check it out. Looks, yeah, it's looking a little gory. So once we've got all this mixture together and it's got this deep fragrance to it, I'm going to put this into a bowl. And again, if you've made this ahead, just put it in the fridge in an airtight container, and then it's ready to go tomorrow, once your eggs are ready, to be able to use for your filling. Don't want to waste a drop of this. I'm telling you, this stuff is delicious. It sounds so simple, but that's the best part. So here we go. I'm going to set this off to the side for now. And our soy sauce mixture is now simmering. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that tea bag that I showed you earlier. I'm going to turn off my heat. And I'm just going to let that steep. I'm just going to clip that, and at that point, I can just walk away from it. And it's okay if it steeps for longer than 10 to 20 minutes. In fact, the longer it steeps, the more flavor you're going to get out of it. And again, the tea's purpose in there is really to help with the dye effect that we're going to have on these eggs. Okay? So once your eggs are cooked, what you're going to be doing is you're going to do a cracking method on the outside of them. So, for the sake of television, I did do a little bit of work ahead. So we're going to take one of our eggs. I already got one in here that's pretty well done. And you're just going to run this guy under cool water. And then before these are going to go into our broth, we have to create the cracks to allow our lovely steeped tea to get into and give those lovely veins. So the way you're going to do that is you're going to take the back of a spoon and you're very gently going to create the cracks. So you'll watch here. You see how little of a crack I put in it? And then you're going to go probably a couple centimeters away and you're going to do it again. And what you're hoping for is for them to kind of connect, for there to be lines. And you're going to go all the way around, and it's very gentle. Don't get too aggressive, because what you don't want to do is you don't want to hit it so hard that the shards of the egg break the membrane, because if it does that, it's going to be very difficult for you to break. And again, yes, this egg does appear to have boiled quickly, but I already had one on the go, because who wants to watch me boil an egg, really? Okay, so now that I've got all these lovely cracks going on in it, this can go into my mixture, which I'm going to put into a refrigerator safe dish, and I'm going to soak these overnight. At least give it 24 hours if you can. If not, that's all right. And now I'm going to show you the ones I already made. So here is one from the night before. Here we are. Pull out our egg here. So once he's been steeping for a while, you can see how the eggshell is even getting a little bit of a dye effect to it. And then what happens is, and I'm going to tell you right now, for the Instagram-worthy version of this, it's going to be a pain. But you want to very gently use your fingers, and you can run this under cold water. I do find sometimes it's easier to take it off, and you want to be very gentle removing it. But you can see here, oh, check it out. Look at that. See that? It's so creepy! And it's done all natural. No dyes required. We just used the tea and the soy sauce. And you end up with this very spooky edge. Now, if you're looking at this going, oh my God, I do not want to have to do all this micro peeling. I don't care about Instagram. I just want something delicious. Here's what I'm going to tell you to do. boil the eggs, and right when they're finished boiling, hard boiling, run them under cold water and peel them immediately so that the shells are off, and then steep them in the broth without the shell. And instead what you'll get is you will get an egg that has the dark color of these lines all the way over. It's still fabulous. It's still delicious. It's not going to be quite as spooky or creepy looking, but it saves you all of this peeling. Okay, so that's just my little secret to you. Don't worry, I won't tell if you don't go to the trouble. But let me show you, first of all, if you rush this and you peel them too quickly, here's what happens. You end up with a mauled egg like this. But if you're patient and you do a good job, look at this. Oh, it's so creepy, right? Is that not fabulous? So once you've got your eggs all ready to go and you've done your filling like I've shown you, next we have to put together the deviled egg. So we're going to take this egg and we're going to very carefully cut it in half. Make sure your knife is good and sharp. Right? And what we're going to do is we're going to remove our yolk, put that into a bowl. Using a spoon here. Now, you can do this egg by egg if you want, or you can do them all at once. And all you're going to do now is you're going to take a little bit of that delicious filling I showed you. I would say you're probably going to need about a teaspoon worth of the filling for every yolk. And then you're going to also need at least half a teaspoon, if not a full teaspoon, of mayo. And what that's going to do is that's just going to give it a little richness, a little kick. It is going to lighten up the color a bit. But I'll just show you kind of how it all mashes together. And you can adjust. If you're looking at this going, oh, that's not dark enough, you can add more of our beet tomato mixture in. But it smells fabulous. And you have a couple options now. You can either take this, put it into a piping bag and pipe it in if you want to be fancy. Or, again, if you just want to simplify things for yourself, just take it, place it back into your egg. Just kind of form it around nicely. And then you have your very own bedeviled raven's egg. So it's got that lovely, rich umami in the middle, and we've got that beautiful, spindly outside. It's creepy, it's delicious. Be sure to make yours to go with your wine before the show. And if you want to hear me, as well as my fabulous cast with Theater Bacchus, be sure to get your tickets. They're only $5 on theaterbacchus.com. I've put the website in the comment on this video. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. I hope you enjoyed, and I hope that I can make more delicious food with you soon. Have a great night.